The impact tore through his bones like lightning. Metal screamed as the shuttle tore apart, tumbling through an emerald sky thick as smoke. Commander Ryan Cole gripped the harness until his fingers bled. His vision blurred, alarms shrieked, and the last thing he saw was the planet spinning up to meet him like a vast, green ocean. When he came to, there was silence. A heavy, humid silence, broken only by the distant hum of strange insects and the crackle of cooling metal. The shattered remains of his shuttle lay half buried in vines and soil the color of rust. His head throbbed, his ribs ached, but he was alive. The air was different here, sweet, almost intoxicating, with a tang of ozone and flowers. He pulled off his cracked helmet and drew in a deep breath. It was breathable. Somehow, against all the odds, he had found a world where a human could survive. He climbed out of the wreck, boots sinking into moss that pulsed faintly beneath his weight, as though the ground itself were breathing. The jungle around him towered impossibly high. Leaves larger than solar panels swayed overhead, and the trunks of the trees were the size of city towers. Everything was huge. He took a few cautious steps forward, scanning the horizon. "Command," he said into his broken calm. "This is Commander Cole. I've made planetfall. Systems down. Coordinates unknown. Do you copy?" Only static replied, faint and distant, like a dying whisper. A tremor ran through the ground beneath him. He froze. Another followed, stronger. It wasn't an earthquake, it was rhythmic. Deliberate, like footsteps. He turned slowly, heart pounding. A shadow fell across the clearing. At first, his mind refused to process what he saw. It was a human shape, arms, legs, a face, but magnified to a scale that shattered every sense of proportion. The being was easily 30 meters tall, her presence eclipsing the light. Her hair shimmered like liquid bronze, tumbling in waves past shoulders broad as cliff faces. Her eyes, vast and green as ocean shallows, swept across the jungle before settling on the wreck. Ryan ducked behind the twisted remains of his shuttle, pulse racing. The giant woman bent down, her expression curious, almost gentle. Her hand, each finger the size of a starship wing, reached out and brushed the hull, testing its texture like a child inspecting a seashell. Her voice rolled through the air, deep and resonant, carrying a strange musical tone. So small, a vessel of the sky. He hesitated, every instinct screaming at him to stay hidden. But curiosity won over fear. "I'm not a threat," he shouted, stepping out from the wreckage with his hands raised. His voice sounded tiny in the vastness around her. Her eyes snapped to him. The ground trembled as she leaned closer, and her shadow swallowed him whole. "You speak," she said, the words rumbling through his chest. "You are alive." Ryan swallowed hard. "Yes, I crashed here by accident. I mean no harm." She studied him, her gaze intense but not unkind. "You are not of the hive," she murmured, almost to herself. "Then you must come before they find you." "Who?" He didn't finish the question. She moved with sudden grace, lowering her enormous hand until it hovered above him, palm open. "Trust me, little one," she said softly. "You will not survive long alone." He stared at the massive hand, the warmth radiating from it like sunlight. Every rational thought told him to run. But there was something in her tone, protective, almost maternal. He stepped forward and climbed onto her palm. The world dropped away. In one effortless motion, she lifted him to her shoulder, and the forest stretched beneath them like a green ocean. The wind rushed past as she began to walk, each stride covering what would have taken him minutes to cross. From his perch, he could see the landscape spread out in breathtaking detail, rivers glowing with faint blue light, mountains that pulsed faintly like living veins, and trees that reached into clouds. The sky itself seemed alive, swirling with patterns of soft gold and violet. "What is this place?" he asked, shouting over the wind. She turned her head slightly, her eyes bright with amusement. "Home," she said simply. "The world of the Crestborn." He gripped a strand of her hair for balance. "And you?" "Lyra," she answered, "guardian of the outer wilds." They moved through the forest for what felt like hours, until the trees began to thin. The air grew warmer, filled with the scent of minerals and glowing sap. Then, at the edge of a great ravine, the city appeared. Ryan's breath caught. It wasn't built, it was grown. Enormous towers of living stone spiraled toward the sky, their surfaces glimmering with light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Bridges of woven vines arched between them, each glowing softly under the twin moons rising above the horizon. Dozens of giant women moved through the streets, their eyes filled with a mixture of wonder and wariness as they spotted Lyra's approach. Lyra slowed her steps, her expression unreadable. "Do not speak," she whispered to him. "They are not ready to see what you are." She stepped onto a platform high above the ground and knelt, lowering her hand so he could step off. He found himself standing on polished stone that shimmered with color when he moved. "This is the Crest Hall," Lyra said. "Our sanctuary. You will be safe here for a time." He looked up at her, still struggling to believe she was real. "Why are you helping me?" She smiled faintly. "Because the others will not. The hunters see all outsiders as threats. They will come for you when the suns rise." "Hunters." Her expression darkened. "The Hive's warriors. They believe prophecy is truth, that when a being not born of our world arrives, it will bring either salvation or ruin. They will not ask which one you are before they strike." Ryan ran a hand through his hair, staring at the alien city bathed in moonlight. "Then what do I do?" Lyra extended a single finger, gently nudging him toward a shimmering alcove. "You hide. Rest. When dawn comes, I will speak to the elders." As he walked toward the shelter, he glanced back at her. Even sitting, she was immense, her posture regal, her eyes distant as though listening to something only she could hear. He wanted to ask 100 questions, about the Hive, about the prophecy, about what she meant by salvation or ruin, but exhaustion claimed him. The last thing he saw before sleep took him was Lyra's silhouette against the alien sky, her bronze hair glowing faintly in the light of the twin moons. Somewhere far away, a low horn echoed through the forest. Lyra turned toward the sound, her jaw tightening. "The hunters," she whispered. "They already know." Night fell slowly over the Crestborn world, washing the sky in ribbons of violet and indigo. Ryan sat on the platform where Lyra had left him, staring into the glowing jungle below. Every leaf shimmered faintly, and the air thrummed with quiet life. Despite the alien beauty, he couldn't shake the tension crawling beneath his skin. The warning Lyra had given him, "The hunters will come," echoed with every heartbeat. The door behind him opened with a soft hum. Lyra entered, her movements fluid and silent despite her size. The faint bioluminescent markings along her skin flickered, reflecting her unease. "You should not be outside," she said, her deep voice calm but urgent. "They will smell your strangeness in the air." Ryan stood, brushing the dust from his uniform. "I can't just hide forever. I need to find a way to contact my ship, or someone back home." Her eyes softened. "Your world is far beyond the skies we can see. There is no signal that can cross that gulf. For now, you are of this world, whether you wish it or not." He looked up at her, frustration bubbling beneath his fear. "You don't understand. If the hunters are coming, I can't just sit here while people fight because of me." Lyra crouched, bringing her face close enough that her breath stirred the air around him. "You are not causing the fight, little one. You are the sign they have waited for. Some will think you are a savior. Others will think you are the destroyer. Either belief will bring blood." He hesitated. "And what do you believe?" She didn't answer immediately. Her gaze drifted toward the horizon, where a faint, golden glow pulsed from the jungle depths. "I believe the world itself called you here," she said softly. "And that the call was not for destruction." Before he could ask more, a horn blast shattered the quiet. A deep, resonant tone that rolled across the city like thunder. Lyra rose instantly, her body tense. The glow of her markings flared. "The hunters," she said. "They come sooner than I feared." Below, chaos rippled through the streets. Giant women armed with spears and radiant shields gathered, forming ranks. Above them, the sky broke open with streaks of red light, ships descending, sleek and black, bearing the mark of the Hive. The air grew heavy with static and fear. Lyra turned to him. "There is one place they will not dare desecrate, the Temple of the Heart. You must reach it." "Why me?" he demanded. "Why that place?" "Because it listens only to what is not of this world," she said. "It may protect you. It may answer the question they are too afraid to ask." Before he could reply, an explosion rocked the platform. A spear of energy tore through one of the bridges, scattering fragments of light and stone. Lyra shielded him instinctively, her massive arm curling around him as the blast wave passed. "Go," she ordered, voice thundering. "Follow the river that runs beneath the city. It leads straight to the heart." She set him down, and before he could protest, she turned to face the oncoming ships. Ryan hesitated, torn between reason and instinct. But the look in her eyes, steady, fierce, protective, left no room for argument. He ran. The streets shook beneath his feet. The glowing pathways twisted downward, leading him toward the river's edge. Giants clashed around him, their weapons hurling arcs of energy through the air. The night burned with color, red, blue, violet, each flash revealing faces locked in battle and fear. Ryan slid down a slope of moss and landed hard beside the glowing river. The water rippled with phosphorescent light, alive and warm to the touch. He hesitated only a second before plunging in. The current caught him, pulling him downstream through a tunnel of roots and light. The river carried him for what felt like miles. When he finally emerged, gasping, the jungle opened around him in breathtaking silence. There, rising above the mist, stood the Temple of the Heart. It was enormous, even by Crestborn scale. Its surface was translucent crystal, shaped like the petals of a colossal flower, and from within, a soft pulse of red and gold throbbed like a living heartbeat. He felt it through the ground, through his bones. As he climbed the steps, the pulse grew stronger. The great doors opened soundlessly, responding to his approach. Inside, the space was filled with liquid light, suspended in the air like drifting water. In the center floated a vast, cracked sphere, veins of dim color running through it. He approached slowly. "What are you?" he whispered. A voice answered, not spoken, but felt, resonating in every cell of his body. "I am the heart. I am what remains of life before division. You are the spark that fell from the stars." He took another step closer. "You called me here." "Not called. Remembered," the voice replied. "Once, your kind walked among the stars that birthed us. You forgot." "We did not." Ryan reached out. The light inside the sphere flickered, and for a moment he saw flashes, worlds connected by shimmering threads, colossal beings guiding fledgling species, a time when everything was one living whole. Outside, the sounds of battle grew louder. The doors trembled. He could hear Lyra's voice, shouting, the ground shaking with each of her steps. Then came the metallic roar of the hunters, followed by the crash of impact. He turned back to the heart. "Tell me what to do." "Touch the wound," the voice said. "Let remembrance flow." His hand found a fracture along the sphere's surface, warm and trembling. The moment his fingers brushed it, a surge of energy raced through him. He fell to his knees as light poured out, bright enough to blind. The sphere cracked open like an egg, and light spilled into the sky, shooting through the clouds, across the horizon. The pulse spread outward, a wave of energy that rolled across the jungle, across the city, across the planet. Everywhere it touched, life stirred anew. The plants straightened, the towers glowed brighter, the ground itself seemed to breathe again. The fighting stopped. The hunters fell to their knees, their weapons flickering and dying. Lyra stood at the entrance of the temple, bathed in gold, watching as the heart shone brighter than the sun's. When the light faded, silence returned. The air was clear, the night still. Ryan lay on the steps, trembling, surrounded by gentle warmth. Lyra approached, kneeling beside him. "You did it," she whispered. "You woke her." He forced a weak smile. "I didn't do anything. She remembered me." Lyra's hand hovered near him, massive yet careful. "The world remembers all things that are true. It seems you were the truth we had forgotten." He looked up at her, exhaustion giving way to awe. "What happens now?" She gazed toward the horizon, where the first light of dawn painted the sky in gold. "Now we begin again," she said. "The hunters will lay down their arms. The hive will fade, and perhaps one day, your kind will return to walk beside us." Ryan exhaled slowly, feeling the heartbeat of the planet echo with his own. The world felt alive now, calm, renewed, watching him with gratitude. Lyra smiled faintly, her green eyes soft. "You came from the stars, little one. But maybe you were never truly lost." As the twin suns rose, their light spilling over the restored city, Ryan realized that somewhere between fear and wonder, between two worlds, he had found something rare, belonging.